Alright, so the weekly stream just happened, so we have enough reveals at this point to start talking about EBO1 Destructive Roar. So let's get into that. We started getting card of the days towards the end of last week, so we have a couple cards to talk about from each clan and like 5 cards to talk about from Spikes. So let's go over some things. Starting off with Tajikaze. They've had 2 reveals so far. One of them is this loser, who is just a vanilla clone of Death Army guy, whatever, who cares. Actual reveal, promo. This is Winged Dragon Beam Tarot. When it's retired, it does original Beam Tarot's effect, except to 3 units instead of just 1. This could actually be pretty solid, like 9k power spread for free for paying a cost that you're going to be paying anyways in Tajikaze. That's pretty nice. And spreading that 3k to 3 different things in Excel based on the numbers that they typically get, based on Novas, based on just Novas. That can make some real difference in the numbers you're hitting. So like, yeah, I like this card a lot. I like this card quite a bit, but who knows if it'll make the final build. We need to see the rest of what Tajikaze does, whatever. Next up, Mega Colony. Okay, so they also got their stupid vanilla revealed, this time wasting a nostalgic unit, at least what I'm nostalgic for. I remember stupid BTO1 mix builds, I remember Karma Queen, so it's unfortunate she got wasted on a stupid vanilla, but that's not what we care about. What we care about is Phantom Black, because it's Silent Tom, but a booster, and it gives extra power, so it's OP, right? Wrong. I don't think this card is very good, personally. Okay, so I talked about in my last news video, primarily about Silent Tom, and I was talking about how Silent Tom is best efficient, like the most efficient way to use Silent Tom is using it as this card that pressures your opponent to be inefficient with their guards. So you swing with it for 1 stage, and if your opponent wants to block this, they have to use a 15k or 20k shield trigger or an intercept if they have an intercept, which is an argument for going for 2 stages instead of 1 because you're still forcing them to waste shield in that case, and you're forcing them to waste these triggers that they prefer to use on more optimal shielding plays, but now they're being forced to use it on Tom, and that can come back to bite them when you're doing Imperial Daughters and when you're doing Victorious Deer later in the game. That can be a game-winning strategy. That's what makes Tom strong. Now let's talk about why Phantom Black cannot accomplish that task. So, 1, it has to discard every time you do it. So even if you're forcing your opponent to lose things, you're also losing a similar amount. And your opponent is more inclined to intercept unless the new stunning effects have some sort of anti-intercept ability. Realistically, these normal unit blocks are not really going to be used for preventing your opponent from actually shielding. What gives these abilities value is the inefficiency that they force on your opponent. And because the minimum you're hitting when this is boosting like a standard grade 2 unit, like 9k power, the minimum that's hitting is 23, I believe. Yeah, that's 23. So, that is already a 15 to guard with any grade 3 Vanguard, or any grade 2 Vanguard for that matter. So, there's no inefficiency being forced on your opponent to guard this. Yeah, like, if you can get this over that threshold of where heals will be used, then we might be onto something. There might be something there, but even then, like intercept plus trigger, whatever, who cares? Yeah, and there's that discard cost on top of it. Put it behind your Vanguard, well, who cares there, because your Vanguard is something that's also primarily going to be shielded by triggers, by perfect guards, which are also triggers. Like, this sort of effect with this power buff combined with this discard cost is generally not terribly good synergy. Like, it could turn out fine, We don't know what the rest of Mega Colony does yet. There could be something that makes this work out fine, but based on what has made Silent Tom good, this is not a good effect. Alright, on to spikes. First, let's talk about the 3 from the stream, since they're all very similar. So Juggernaut Maximum, triple rare, High Speed Bracky, rare, and Wonder Boy, also rare. So all of these have the same secondary effect. When they're on rear guard at the start of your main phase, you can shove them into Soul to call in another copy from the deck. And that's because each of them has a power-up ability when placed for that turn. Juggernaut on Vanguard or rear, when placed for that turn, it gets plus 10k. Bracky, when placed on rear for that turn, it gets plus 10k. And Wonder Boy, when placed on rear, you get to put a non-grade 1 from your drop zone at the bottom of your deck, and it gets plus 5k. All of these are very good. Obviously, 13k booster, 20k booster, 23k booster, all for free. Force your opponent to answer these, or they're just going to happen again next turn for free while filtering your deck. Yeah, they're obviously very, very strong cards. Juggernaut is... I'm not sure how to feel about Juggernaut being a triple rare personally. I don't... Like, considering the different... Like, there's not that big of a difference between him and Bracky, so it feels a bit weird that he's triple rare, but whatever. Who cares? I guess the force marker is just worth that much. But these are very powerful effects, and I don't think that these are any indication that spikes won't have their normal multi-attack thing. Because, like, Bracky and Juggernaut were never like, what caused the multi-attacks in the first place. They were just the strong attackers you went for with your multi-attack enablers, which were typically your Vanguard and Dudley Dan. In the very early days, you used Dudley Dan. So I think all that really indicates is that we're going to have there's not going to be that open circle stuff that Spikes had for their conditions for their multi-attacks. They're just gonna like probably just call from hand, especially considering like Royals. They didn't even give like really good tutoring to Royals. So I don't think they're going to give from deck calls to Spike Brothers. I just don't see that happening. From hand seems like the path they'll go. Okay, so the other 2 cards. Funky Bazooka is an indication that they will have that multi-attack stuff. Because it's a 7k that gets plus 5k every time something is placed in front of it. And I don't get why they'd make that effect unless there was going to be some efficient way of calling multiple things in front of it in a turn. And the efficient way to do that, of course, would be via multi-attacks. With the idea, of course, being you stack force into a column and you keep calling things to that column during the attack phase. Yeah. And the other card is an indication of what we can probably expect to balance out that obviously very powerful multi-attack strategy when it's paired with stuff like when it's paired like stuff like the Force Marker and Bracky and Juggernaut, in that their self-card advantage is likely going to be very weak. This takes a 2k hit to its stats for a CB1 that isn't permanent, but like if they keep the multi-attack stuff, they don't care if it's permanent. They're probably going to call for whatever it is anyways. And there's a lot of stuff putting into Soul here. So however Siegfried or Dudley Dan or whatever does the multi-attack shenanigans, you can probably expect it to use Soul. I mean, that's not a huge shocker. Spikes did use Soul quite a bit back in the early days. So it's hardly a surprise that they have all this Soul and stuff, and that they might use Soul as their resource. Though I will say, if they get a waterfall-styled finisher that specifically Soul Blast grade 3s, that will be scary because Juggernaut. However, it's for that exact reason that I doubt they will. Also, Zachary is, of course, very good because it has 12 targets that come in with plus power. So like that's obviously very, very strong, very potent. And can easily lead to some very strong turn 2 plays. Yeah. I think that's all there is to really say about these ones. Since Spike's reveal season has started, I do have to recommend Living Proof's channel if you're not already subscribed. He does some great analysis on Spike stuff, and knows the stuff with the game in general. So I'll link his channel in the description below. Go check him out, and I bet he'll do a video on these sometime in the near future. Yeah. And as for me, when it comes to news reveal videos, my plan is to do these every Tuesday and Saturday. Split up the reveals from each week into 2 big chunks to talk about. Also, regarding non-news videos, I have plans for a Royal Paladin VBTO1 breakdown video. I actually have plans to do that for all 4 clans. I had planned to release the Royal Paladin one a few days back, but I haven't been able to record because of this awful cough that I've had to cut out a bunch from this video because of, but it seems to be calming down now, so I should be able to record that and get those breakdown videos coming out, because I want to get them all out before the set drops in English. With that said though, this is Hunter Surge, signing off.